Well, hello and welcome back to the workshop, where today we've got a brand new decorated sample of one of our exclusive limited edition models.
Doesn't it look smart?
It certainly does. So it's 47817, as you might have guessed, and it's really rather impressive purple and white Porterbrook livery.
I can remember seeing this in the day back in, what was it, the late 1990s?
Yeah, late 1990s, yeah.
And, you know, it was eye-catching.
It certainly was. I mean, I remember being quite fascinated by it. There was two of them in the end that carried this colour scheme. I remember being quite fascinated, and I'd looked through the latest issue of railway magazines to try and see where they'd been and what they were doing. I did manage to see, I can't remember if it was 817 or 807, but I saw one of them at Birmingham New Street, and that was a really exciting moment.
I can remember that at the time I thought, what have they done to the intercity livery?
I thought it was fantastic.
It just, you know, you grew to like it a lot.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, and I've got to say, I know I've got a Class 57 and similar livery, and it really does look good.
Yeah. It's quite interesting, actually, that Porterbrook did 2 or 3 different purple-based liveries on its locos. Like you mentioned, the 57. 57 had a really big 57601 down the side of it.
That's right.
You couldn't miss what number that loco was.
No, it was great for train spotters.
It certainly was. And then obviously there was Porterbrook's Deltic as well, 9016 Gordon Highlander, which went into a version of the original two-tone green in purple, which personally I think looks fantastic, but I'm constantly reminded that I am wrong. So
I've got to say that this is striking, and of course it would have been seen right across the CrossCountry or Virgin CrossCountry network at the time.
That's right, yeah. And that's one of the really nice things about this loco, is it was literally would have travelled the entire country on cross-country trains, and it wasn't just it was going up one side of the country like you get with like a West Coast or an East Coast mainline loco. It was literally would be in Kent one day, Leeds at the end of the day, then it might go down to Penzance, then it could be coming across the middle. It's going everywhere. It's taking people across the country.
There was quite a revolution at the time, I think, when that was applied, because, you know, we just weren't expecting.
Well, no, it actually was the first of the intercity 47s taken over by Virgin trains to go into any other livery other than intercity. So it really was a mould-breaking livery. This is kind of the start of all the multicoloured privatisation that we see on passenger rolling stock now, really.
So we should point out once again that this is a limited edition model to the Key Model Workshop.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, this is our exclusive model. Heljan's produced it for us. They're producing just 300 units of it for us. It's available both DCC ready and DCC sound fitted. It uses the new Heljan tooling for the Class 47, which was launched in early 2024. And it's got a few new features on it in terms of the detail as well, because their tooling suite allows lots of different cab fronts to be put onto the locos. So it's got correct cab fronts at each end of 47817. It's also got the crew cut buffer beams on it as well, so you've got the cutaway buffer beams. And then inside, it's fully feature laden with its multi-function lighting inside in terms of the circuit board setup. You've got factory-fitted speaker on the DCC sound ones. You've got a lock sound 21-pin decoder in there as well. Plus, one of the things I do really like about this actually is when you look through the engine bay windows, you can see those little bits of detail in there as well. When they've gone to the effort of actually detailing those,
it does look, as I said earlier, very smart indeed.
It certainly does.
And so, for those who don't know what the differences are between the ends, because you mentioned it's got a different colour.
Yeah, so so the 47s went through a lot of variations over the years. This one is obviously a later version where the head coat panels have been plated, but the plating is inset where some of them had a flush front end. But this has got the correct ends for 47817. It's also got the high intensity light on it as well. Like I said, and then it's got that crew cut buffer beam at the bottom, which means that the bottom edge of the fairing that used to go around the buffer beam is all being cut away.
And this train formation, I know it's a slightly shortened formation that we've got showing.
Yeah, it's almost right.
Yeah. Almost right.
Almost right.
But it's sort of typical at the time in terms of the mixture of liveries as well.
That's right. I mean,
perhaps recreate.
817 tended to be with a full set of intercity livery stock rather than with the Virgin Trains coaches in it. A little side story, which means nothing to anyone apart from me really at the end of the day, is that the reason it's in this particular formation is I haven't actually weathered the other 2 coaches I've got at home to replace the ones that are in this.
Shocking.
So that's on me, but
and we won't mention the extra first class coat.
It's off camera, no, that's it.
But no, it really does look smart in this formation, and once it's got this full 7-coach rake that we'll eventually have behind it.
Yeah, you definitely will look
the par, won't it?
Indeed, yeah. Like I say, the model is really feature rich in terms of its interior setup specification. One of the things you will notice in the running shots here on the layout today is that it appears to have the wrong underframe tank on it when it's running, and that's because being a decorated sample, it comes without a motor in it. So we did a quick chassis swap for a spare loco we had in the office from the Heljan collection. Pop that underneath, but it hasn't got the right underframe tanks on while you're seeing it running on the layouts. But you will notice if you look at any photographs of it in our shop that I think they have got the correct 47.8 long-range shore tanks on them. So
rest assured, when your model comes, it'll have the right tanks.
It'll have the correct tanks on it, as you see in this particular shot here, and like I say, as you see in the still photographs.
Very good. So, I suppose just need to remind everyone what the format is in terms of what availability they are and how much.
Yeah, so these are, they're due to arrive with us in the fourth quarter of this year, so towards the end of 2024 as things stand. They are available both DCC ready and DCC sound fitted. A DCC ready model will cost you £249.95 and a DCC sound fitted one is £389.95. They are available to pre-order now from the Keyboard World shop with a £10 deposit to reserve your model. And, like any limited edition, be quick, get your name in, reserve your model, and you'll be able to add it to a full set of matching intercity stock like this.
Absolutely fantastic.
So, I mean, it's great. This takes me back to my teenage years.
Well, it's spot on in terms of, a lot of my eras. And I can remember, in that period, I think I would have been spotting this locomotive in particular, probably on the corridor between Reading and Birmingham New Street.
Yeah.
Sort of at Oxford or Banbury on the cross countries and
Yeah, so it doesn't help.
Happy memories.
Yeah, absolutely. So it doesn't help with 47817, but I remember I used to do quite a few trips to Crewe and down to Stafford, and always tried to get onto the Class 47 haul sets. But the reason for that is you never knew what was going to turn up. Because these had such a bad reputation for reliability at that point that it might be a Red Express Systems 47 that turned out. Some of the Fragsnet ones were used as well. You could even end up with, at one time I saw a pair of coal sector Class 37 on the front of a train, hauling Mark II stock as they mainline express. Anything could turn up anywhere on these.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, I used to do a lot of runs from Banbury and Oxford up to Manchester because when I was working up that way for a while, and I would always, if I could, I think it was a 726 from Banbury to Manchester was always a 47 hauled service, and it could turn up with pretty much anything, and it was always great fun. There's something special about being in the Mark II coaches behind a Class 47, but I always try and get in the BSO if it was at that end of the train as well. So,
yeah. Happy memories indeed. Like I say, we digress there a little bit.
Indeed,
but,
sorry.
Yes, they are available to pre-order now. Our models are 47817, and if you're coming to the Great Electric Train Show, you can have a look at the sample on our stand. It'll be on display all weekend, and hopefully we might sneak it onto a couple of layouts as well for a little run out as well.
Be rude not to, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for watching today. Hope you've enjoyed this little insight into our next limited edition with this model of 47817. And we look forward to seeing you next time.